Dude, I think we might have a problem with CoolerBot.
Yeah. There's always a problem with CoolerBot.
Yeah, but this time it's serious. See, I sent him down to the boiler room to calibrate the hydrotomic companilators.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 2-hour job, but he was in there for a while. Like, days. So I finally went to check on him, and I don't know how else to say this.
Just spit it out, man. Come on.
Okay. All right. When I found him, he was watching The Wolf of Wall Street with director's commentary.
Oh, God, this.
Yeah. I'm afraid he's becoming a film bro.
Well, I suppose there's only one way to find out for sure. CoolerBot, could you come in here, please?
What's up, nerds?
So, I hear you've been watching some movies lately.
Excuse me, don't you mean cinema? Yeah, I'm into some weird shit. Pulp Fiction, Joker, Taxi Driver, you know, real underground cinema.
Okay. Hey, speaking of movies, excuse me, cinema. There's this film I've always heard cool stuff about. I think it's called Fight Club?
Fight Club is probably one of the trippiest movies ever made. I bet it's a little too deep for you to understand.
Huh. Wow, you're pretty into film suddenly, CoolerBot. Say, who's your favorite director, you think?
My favorite director, he's this indie underground guy. You've probably never heard of him. His name is Quentin Tarantino.
Shit.
Yeah, he's a fucking film bro now. We're fucked. God damn it.
Tyler Durden, Arthur Fleck, Travis Bickle, Patrick Bateman. That's my Mount Rushmore of guys you idolize.
Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am World Pseudo Coffee Barista Champion Hallstrom.
And I am spoiled, manipulative brat Rohrbacher.
And we are space documentarians exposing the truth of the Alien franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Happy New Year, Kenny.
Hey, Happy New Year to you too, Neil. Thanks.
Happy New Year, crew. I was off mic there for a second.
Right.
How's it going, man?
It's going all right. Just chilling, just, playing games in my spare time like normal. Started playing a new one.
Yeah, what are you playing?
I'm playing the Dragon Quest 1 and 2 remake just came out a couple of months ago.
Okay.
And I picked that up, but then when I did, I remembered, oh yeah, I picked up the Dragon Quest 3 remake that came out about a year and a half ago, but totally forgot to play it. So I started playing that, and then after I do that, I'll move on to 1 and 2 probably.
Is that the order you're supposed to play them in?
Yeah, 3 is a prequel to 1 and 2.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
You say remake. These are like full-blown, like ground-up rebuilds, full 3D.
Well, they're not full 3D because they actually use the like the Octopath Traveler style of graphics that is referred to as 2D HD.
Okay.
So which is like, it's like kind of like the Paper Mario games where it's like a 3D world with like 2D characters that run around in it. But the difference between that and this is that in 2D HD, it's like pixelated.
Gotcha. Does it have Paper Mario techniques where you can like turn sideways to squeeze, into gaps and stuff?
It does not do those. No.
Oh, boo.
Well, I don't think it does. I haven't come across anything yet in the game that makes you do that. It's just like a normal JRPG so far.
Sorry, I said boo, but then I remembered I don't actually care about Paper Mario at all. So I don't actually care.
I meanwhile think the second one is one of the best video games I've ever played. So
that's what I've heard. I've heard it's very good. I'll
Yeah,
never,
Thousand Year Door is really good.
I'll never play it. There's too many games
That's
out
fair.
there.
That's fair.
There's just a lot of them, guys. I don't know if you know this about video games, people out there. There's several.
Yeah, there's like at least a dozen.
Yeah. And who has the time?
That's right.
Okay.
So that's what I've been doing. What about you?
I was playing a game myself the other day.
Mhm.
By the
Mhm.
other day, I mean yesterday.
All right.
I dipped back into a little game called Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
This is a game that I played. I pre-ordered so that I got it in early release.
Mm-hmm.
Beat the campaign mode before the actual launch of the game.
All right.
And then didn't really ever touch again.
Yeah, I had similar. I had a similar situation. I didn't pre-order it. I bought it like maybe a week or two after it came out. I bought the first like character DLC pack, and then I played through the campaign, and then about 2 or 3 days after I beat it, some friends of mine were getting together a group of people to just like, do like a friendly online tournament of it.
Yeah.
And so I decided the character that I wanted to play as, spent a few hours practicing with him so I could like get at least moderately good. And then I went and joined the tournament and then proceeded to lose every single match I was in.
Yeah.
Did that for about 3 hours, then we stopped playing, and then I haven't touched the game since then.
Okay. So people out there who know me as a Mortal Kombat fan know that I'm a Mortal Kombat story fan, right?
Yeah.
I don't play online. I don't really give a fuck about
Yeah. I'm the same way.
that. There's not really any fighting games that I've ever really jumped in and gotten real serious about online play. Mostly
I don't like
because-
fighting games. I don't like fighting games, so I'm right there with you.
Well, I like them, but when I was in my phase of really enjoying playing fighting games, there wasn't the ones that I really like to play. There wasn't a lot of online options for, so or it wasn't very easy to get online with them. Like your option for playing Third Strike online was a PlayStation 2 version. Then you had to have the modem and all that shit, and like I just wasn't jumping through all of those hoops. And
I got you.
So I missed it all, and then I got old, and now I'm not so good at them. So I just haven't been into it ever. So I'm not good enough to have any fun doing that, right? And
Fair.
haven't been for a long time, and I don't
Yeah,
care,
me neither.
and I don't care to be because I enjoy playing those games for the story. I always have, and I want to play the what is it, Chaos Reigns, the expansion, right? That came out quite a while ago.
Yeah. I don't think I have that. I have the first character pack, but I didn't buy the second one or the Chaos Reigns expansion. I never got around to it.
When I first played Mortal Kombat 1's story mode, mild spoilers, I remember like enjoying it at the time, and then at the end of it being kind of like, well, that was fun, but like, I don't know, I'm not too into multiverse stuff. And then later having the realization of like, the fuck are you talking about, man? You did a whole Mortal Kombat podcast that pretty much only covered essentially alternate Mortal Kombat universes. You're clearly into Mortal Kombat multiverse stuff. Get over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Playing it this time, I'm enjoying the story, and I think all the people who are like getting weird about storyline changes are nerds who need to get over themselves.
Fair.
Yeah. So I'm
Can't argue with that.
Looking forward to getting into Chaos Reigns. I'm almost through the main campaign, so I can jump right into that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Also, when I was first playing Mortal Kombat 1, that was around the time I started having all my brain problems, and that probably has something to do with me not having as much enjoyment at the time as I expected to.
Yeah, I would agree. That seems like a reasonable thing to assume, yeah.
Oh, also, I've talked a lot more recently about watching movies, playing games, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got new glasses, which are helping me a lot. They have blue light blocking technology built into them.
Ooh.
They're super anti-reflective. This was all on the recommendations of the ophthalmologist. And they do seem to be helping with that kind of stuff. I still have like a threshold, of course, but it's helping my general day-to-day enjoyment which I
Hell
think is
yeah.
going to help out the podcast. It's going to make it easier for me to do things like, I don't know, maybe play an Aliens versus Predator video game pretty soon here for the podcast.
Hint, hint, hint.
Yeah, don't want to jinx myself here either. I'm definitely knocking on some wood right now.
I gotcha. Fair.
Yeah, but having some improvements in that in those areas, everybody.
Hell yeah. Love it.
Yeah,
Sounds
man.
good.
I also played and beat Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Wow. I'm pretty sure I played it, but I don't think I ever beat it, and I haven't played it since like not long after it came out.
I found it way easier than Grand Theft Auto 3. Probably just because they made the game easier to play and not as busted as Grand Theft Auto 3 is. Grand Theft Auto 3's mechanics are kind of busted.
Yeah. I've never been a huge Grand Theft Auto guy, so.
Gotcha. I enjoy them. I'm not super hardcore. Like I have not played much of 5, despite it being out for 10 years at this point.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'll get around to it. Probably before those Dragon Quest remakes or Paper Mario, whatever I referenced earlier that I'm never going to play.
It was Paper Mario.
All of the above, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our Flock podcast for the week.
That's right.
Yeah, and also there's this vegan restaurant you should check out.
It's in Richmond, Virginia. Yes, that's correct.
Virginia. And trading card games are fun, but some people are make it not fun when we go play.
Also, I love football now.
And go Birds. All right.
That's right.
Listen to the Flock podcast, everybody.
Yeah, that was a big, dumb reference to that. So,
all right. If you're still with us, Kenny, what are we talking about on the show today?
we're talking about we're going back to the well of the previous episode and going into the AvP Ultimate Prey book, and we pulled out 2 more short stories from that we're going to be talking about on the show today.
We did. Kenny and I each picked one by name alone, and coincidentally, they were back to back in the table of
in the
contents.
actual book. Yeah,
This was not planned, but it worked out. So.
The 2 stories we're covering are Film School and Night Doctors.
Yep.
To be honest, I don't remember which one of us chose which one, but one of us picked each one of them, yes.
I chose Film School.
Okay.
And you chose Night Doctors, and you were just like going purely by name. I'll pick Night Doctors. And I was like, okay, I'm going with Film School. Because I had thrown a bunch out that I was like, these sound interesting. There's also this title that looks kind of interesting. I'll just nail it down to that one. And then coincidentally, they were back to back in the table of contents there. So, yeah, man. Also, this is going to be our last, I think, Ultimate Prey episode for now. We're in the new year. Things are settling down a bit. I'm feeling better. I was also sick for a while, guys. If anyone listens to that they made another one I did, you could tell that I was sick on that one. Boy, howdy.
Yeah, you tend to have that problem a lot. You get sick a lot, I've noticed.
It's mild, but this was a little different. Everyone at work had been sick, and then I had been just doing some stuff that just wrecked up my sinuses. Who cares? Nobody cares. Something had been going around at work. I didn't get it so bad, but I got it, is the point.
Fair.
But yeah, things are settling down, so we're going to move on to some more big deal AvP stuff here. But for now, let's talk about Film School by Roshini Rush Bhatia.
Okay.
Right. First of all, this author, Roshini Rush Bhatia, she is a writer-director who grew up in Mumbai, India, a place that I have been. Yeah.
Wow. Impressive.
And she has written and directed quite a few shorts, film shorts.
I do know film shorts, yes.
Probably why she chose a sort of documentary film style plot for her short story in this. Based on her IMDb biography, she is very specifically inspired by filmmakers like James Cameron and Ridley Scott.
What are the chances?
And loves to do sci-fi and horror.
Well, I suppose it's that's a pretty good reason for why they asked her to do this story.
Yeah, man.
Do a story, I suppose.
Yep. Yeah. Do you want to talk about how you now? Let's hold our opinions on this story until we talk through it. How about that?
All right,
Both
that's
of
fine.
them.
You got it.
All right. So this story is about. It's mainly told. It's not mainly told. It is exclusively told from the perspective of a woman named Jess Phillip.
Mm-hmm.
And she is in an interrogation room at some unknown Wayland-Yutani research facility station on LV 203 and specifically Security Block 6.
That's right.
Yep. All these free locations for your Alien RPG campaigns, everybody.
And she's getting debriefed, i.e., interrogated by a couple of goons. And it's clear that there has been capital A, capital I, N incident.
Yes.
And judging by the title of the book that we're reading, I have a feeling I know what that incident probably is.
Yes.
And they make it clear that she was, like, they say that she was she was in the mining colony of Tenebris. And they make it clear that her being there was illegal because the mining colony itself is off limits and no one is allowed to go there, which is why she's getting interrogated about going there.
Yep. I like these fun details about, she's talking to us. It's kind of all told in first person. So the storytelling is a mix of like what she is specific. She's telling the story to them, but then we're getting more detail than obviously of what she's telling just these interrogators, right?
For sure.
So, we get these little bits of like, she's heard how the company psychologist can get you to talk no matter what. So she's just going to tell them and not try to resist, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's had to repeat the same story over and over and over. She knows that her only chance of getting out of here is to tell them what she wants to see and so she can get back to Guadalajara and her brother. She talks about how the pseudo coffee is one more head trip they play on you here. It's a reminder that if you don't cooperate, you'll never smell the real thing again. And this gets me really curious about what the fuck this fake coffee is that exists in this world. This synthetic coffee, because we hear him talk about it in Alien also, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
She also says something when the two men return to interrogate her. One's in his mid-30s. The other man seemed older, in his late 40s. She says they mumbled their names the first time around, but they seemed interchangeable and fake, so I didn't bother to remember them. And I took a note here that says, this is how I feel about most names in most of the books we read.
Also fair. Yes, that is extremely correct.
And that's a me problem, everybody. But
no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, and they're like, come on, just tell us what you know, and maybe you'll get out of here. Tell us what happened to the Tenebris mining colony. And she's like, I already fucking told you, right? And they're like, oh, you went to a quarantine planet. We need to know everything you saw there, and then maybe we'll let you go home eventually.
And then she's like, fine. And then the rest of the story is like, the structure is her telling them the story, but we're seeing it as it's happening,
Yes, right.
Like we're seeing it as a flashback when it's actually happening to her.
Yeah.
But like the structure, the format is that we're seeing it after the fact when she's telling them this.
Yeah, still narrated in first person by her.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing. It doesn't matter, It only matters at the end with a little twist there, but it doesn't even matter then at all.
You're right, it doesn't. But basically the gist of it is that she has been hired as the assistant holo operator to be part of a documentary filming crew with 4 other people. We have Connor, the producer, Kevin, the other holo operator, Brendan, the sound guy, and Lara, who's like the host.
Yes.
And like running the operation. And it was her idea to film this documentary. and because there was like some kind of like mine collapse or something like that. I don't remember exactly what they said happened, but Lara came across information indicating that the official story of what happened on Tenebris wasn't actually what happened.
Right.
So she's dedicated to going down there and finding out the real story.
Yeah, this is Lara Collins. She says there's been a mining disaster on Tenebris and the whole colony shut off from communications. And the official explanation was that they hit an unexpected gas pocket. And Lara's trying to make a name for herself doing eco docs. Also, shout out to Connor. Listen to the Flock podcast.
What up, Connor?
We get a whole bunch of backstory on Lara about how her mother was a journalist and her father served in the Colonial Marines, and that she like seems like she's a rich girl and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And we get a whole lots of and then we also learned that Jess is kind of the outsider, right? She'd worked with one of these people before, I think Kevin, right?
Yeah, Kevin, yeah.
And he kind of brought her into this. And then the other four of them, Kevin, Brendan, Connor, and Lara, had all worked together. So Jess is sort of the outsider to this group.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole goal is, they're going to go land in the colony landing field. They're going to search for information, film anything they can, anything that's weird, and they're going to be there for how many hours?
12, I think.
12 hours, and then get picked back up, and I guess, take it from there, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's the plan anyway.
So, for the next few hours flying out, they're prepping and they're geeking out about movies, holos, and synths, doing what film nerds like us do.
Mm-hmm.
And now you guys know why we did the intro we did. All right.
That's right.
I like the little breakdown of the characters here. Connor was the smartass. Brendan was spacey but knew his gear like nobody. Kevin was happy to field strip his holo cam or joke around with us. And then Laura was like super serious, and like then they have the pilot Hightor, who isn't really part of the crew. He's just the guy flying them out there, right?
Yeah. And yeah, he's not part of the film crew. And it's funny too that you mentioned that, because like me, whenever it got into like, the whole section about like that you mentioned about like Lara's backstory and like, the descriptions of all the characters here and everything, I just kind of glossed over all that shit because in the beginning, Jess is the only character we see. So after I found out that she was part of a 5-person crew, I'm like, well, since Jess is the only person being interrogated, I'm assuming the other 4 characters here are all going to die, so I don't really care about him because my brain is like, oh, they're probably just alien fodder. It's fine. I don't need to worry about them.
Yeah, basically. It doesn't really matter at all. And their personalities don't differ that much, except that Kevin, I guess, smokes some joints a few times.
Yeah, he sure does.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they basically go down there and they're investigating around for a little while. And one of the first things that happens is that they technically discover 0 evidence of why the colony would have been closed down. And I mean that literally, because like all of the stated reasons that the company gave for why the mine would be closed down would leave some kind of evidence behind of that being the thing that happened. And when they go down there and look, none of that evidence is there. So they're like, if this place got, taken up in like a gas pocket explosion, there should be like signs of an explosion, and there isn't,
right.
That kind of stuff.
Signs of an explosion, dead people, something like that, right?
Something, yeah. And go ahead.
But Tenebris was quiet. Its only inhabitants seemed to be eerie shadows and rusting machinery covered in black vines. The black vines thing was interesting. I guess it was like a natural sort of growth on the planet, but it reminded me of those like black silicone tubes in that one book that was either River of Pain or Sea of Sorrows. I could never remember.
That you can never remember it's Sea of Sorrows.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the black tubes come out of the Sea of Sorrows.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that, and I was thinking, like, is this part of something,
It turns out to not be. It's
Yeah.
just
Just a
it's
detail.
just some little description. Yeah, just some little description the story gave to fill things out.
Right.
But one thing they do find is that they very quickly come across some like old, well, not really old machinery, but machinery, and some of it has been melted by acid.
Interesting. They keep tracking for radiation also. They keep tracking for signs of this mining disaster, and they're like, we can't pick up anything. No evidence, like no barium signatures, no radiation, nothing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They have all these scanners. I like the techno. I'm not going to go into all of it here, but I liked all the technical explanations, the technology they have for scanning things and tracking things. It's just,
That was kind of fun.
It is fun. Shows that they're really here to like do work, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not just like dudes with like a GoPro.
That's right. But yeah, they find the I was gonna say tank, but it's not a tank. They find the machinery that got burned away by acid, but they discover that the acid is like recent. And then as they continue to investigate around, they find what we as Alien fans immediately recognized as a shed skin, but they don't know what it is. And then almost immediately after that, they find a man's severed arm that is still bleeding wet blood, and they're like, "Uh-oh."
Oh, we've also skipped over. There have been a few times while inside like the admin facility up on the I don't know, balcony, I'll call it.
Yeah. All right.
Jess feels like she's seen something or something shimmering appear in the corner of her eye or directly below. Right.
Yeah.
And then it goes away. She can't see it. Just something out there.
So when they see this severed arm, they're finally like, you know what? Fuck this. And they all, except Lara, who's trying to get them to stay and continue to film, they all head back to like the admin building or wherever it was that they set their headquarters up in.
Yeah.
And once they get there, due to a mix-up via, like, through some, like, chips that they're trying to, like, install and run in things, they discover that Lara has a "Save me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only help" message.
Yes, she does.
Or you're my only hope, sorry. Because is a Star Wars quote, people would get on me if I got it wrong. That's basically...
Save me, Obi Trice.
That's right. But yeah, the message is basically from miners on this planet, and it was like a distress signal they sent out, but like it's clear that the message was left like within the last couple days. Like it's brand new, and even though the company has been saying that this place has been shut down and abandoned, it's clear there are people still here, and so that's ultimately why she gathered up the people and brought them in to, rescue them, or at the very least figure out what's going on here.
This is Tenebris 88 requesting assistance again. We've lost half our personnel, and we can't take it much longer before and then it's cut off, right? And so everyone's like, well, hey, what do you mean they? What is this message? What does he mean they? And also, she's got a laser pistol, and Brendan's like, why do you have a laser pistol? And what's up with that message? And what do you mean they? And why do you have a laser pistol? And then Lara's like, okay, fine. This is a message that somebody intercepted that was transmitted after the planet was quarantined, like after the company had already said everyone was dead. This is the only proof that they're covering something up, and that's why we're here to find the truth, etc. And everyone's like, okay, you kind of lied to us. And she's like, I don't care. We got to expose their lies. We have to expose their lies. We got to go out there and find the truth, everybody. We have 6 hours left. Let's go record we're stuck here until the ship comes anyway. So just help me expose the truth, and then we can get out of here. Right.
And it works because since other than Jess, they all know her and are like friends with her, they're like swayed by her argument. And Jess is like, well, I don't want to have to go sit out there for 6 hours waiting alone if there's something out there that can tear a man's arm off. So since everyone else is going, she just decides to go with them.
There's a nice reference here. They're like, this is just like when we did the Hollow on the LG 805 Terragliders, which we learn later are like flying sharks. Sorry, Kenny.
Yeah, sharks with wings. Yeah,
Yeah. I'd like to see those.
I'm sure you would.
Love a reference to another alien, lowercase a alien species in this, especially when it's just like a wild species like this.
Yeah,
And not, an eyeball or a plant with that presents as flora, but might be fauna or whatever. The other or a dick fly or whatever. I'd like to see these guys show up in Alien Earth Season 2 is all I'm saying.
sharks with wings.
Might get me to tune in Alien Earth Season 2 if you get these guys on board.
So they head out.
805 Terragliders in Alien Earth Season 2, everybody.
So they head out, and once they head out again, they notice some movement, and upon tracking it down like through the fog, because like the way they explain it is that the place is like misty and foggy enough that they can't see more than a few feet in front of them, but the cameras, like the hollows, are set up in such a way where they can see farther than human eyes can. So they're able to track the movement and find out where they're going by just filming everything through a camera and watching what they do through that. And so they track the movement, through the fog with their camera. And they come to like this little open area where there is a bunch of corpses lying around with big holes in their chest. And they're lying around like around a group of opened and empty ovomorph eggs.
Yeah, leathery egg shapes scattered all around. I still love that every single, there's what, 12, 15 stories in this thing? 16 stories, I forget.
Something like that, yeah.
Every single one of them is going to have to describe what an ovomorph is without saying, and then there were alien eggs here.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
They're all going to have to be like, and then they discovered this egg-shaped sac that was leathery on the outside with the opening like a petal. Yeah. You just get like a crash course in different authors having to describe the xenomorph in different ways.
Yeah, it's so fun seeing all the various different ways that people like try to describe a xenomorph, because it's like the writer knows that the reader already knows what a xenomorph looks like, so they don't actually need to like accurately describe it. They can just be like, look, man, we both know I'm talking about a damn xenomorph here. Yeah. And so like it's funny trying to see like the different ways somebody describes it, because it's like if you don't know what it is and you just go and read the description, no description will ever actually accurately give you an idea of what the thing is that they're describing. It's very funny.
I'd say if you sat down and read this entire book like in series, it would probably get pretty exhausting too, because you're like, oh, here we go. Here's the part where we have to describe what a xenomorph looks like and what an ovomorph looks like. I mean, it already is kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so basically, when they see all these bodies, they freak out and try to go back to the building. But because of like some like omnidirectional microphones that they had set up earlier on in the story, they pick up a noise coming from the building that indicates that there's something or someone in the building, like rummaging around and searching through it. And they're like, oh no, there's something there. We don't want to go back there. So they keep going. And as they keep going, a ship flies by overhead, and it is clear that it's some kind of lowercase a alien ship. It's obviously not like a human-made ship.
Yep.
And then after they, like I said, they head off somewhere to go do something or another, and then eventually decide to split up. And so Jess gets sent away with Brendan and Connor, while Kevin and Lara go off and do their own thing.
I do think it was very charming that they referred to the ship entering from the sky as a spaceship. Like I'm so used to stuff in this just being ships, right?
Yeah.
But it was a spaceship.
It was a spaceship, yes.
I found that adorable.
Despite technically being in space, it is a spaceship.
You guys are in space.
Yeah.
All ships are spaceships right now.
That's right.
You know. All right. So how did they split up again? Kevin goes with
Kevin goes with Lara, and then Jess, Brendan, and Connor are together.
Right. And Jess is having a hard time keeping up, but they're like climbing a hill or a rocky cliff to get a better vantage point to see what's going on. And they check out the large spaceship sitting in the middle of a flat plain. Guys, it's Yautja. You know where this is going.
It sure is. It's definitely a Predator ship, and the ship has landed, but hasn't opened up yet, which is good for us, because as the characters are watching the ship is when it opens up and Predators come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, that's what happens. It opens up and Predators come out.
And it's very funny because a group of Predators comes out and they're like parked right in front of like the mouth of a cave, and they pull out this big, huge, like tripod mounted cannon and set it up into the mouth of the cave. Yeah, what's up?
Important detail. Not only do Predators come out, two of them step out, and then a third one steps out from the bushes and approaches them, and that's the shimmering figure that Jess has been seeing in the corner of her eye all over the place that she couldn't put her finger on.
That's right. I'm glad you mentioned that. I would have forgotten to bring that up. Yes.
Yeah, there's been a Yautja here the whole time, everybody.
And so the three of them, like I said, set up this big, huge mounted cannon right in the mouth of the cave. And then all the characters are like, oh, is that like a rocket launcher? And I was like, oh, is this going to be like a big, cool, like laser cannon or whatever? And they fired off, and it just kind of goes boomf into the mouth of the cave. And they're all like, huh, that's weird. And then several seconds later, several waves of xenomorphs scramble out of the mouth of the cave and start fighting the Predators. And the characters and me at the same time were both like, oh, that was a big bug bomb that they just used. Okay, got it.
Literally a bug bomb, because they even talk about how it like released enzymes or something.
No, they literally use the phrase bug bomb in the story.
Yeah. Yes, and when you say waves, they make it sound like hundreds of xenomorphs, like a whole colony's worth of xenomorphs are now pouring out of this cave, charging these like 3 Predators.
They do make it sound like that, yes. And then there's actually a pretty fucking cool fight scene where, like, the one big Predator is up front with, like, his spear and his sword, and then the other 2 smaller Predators are a little behind him using their shoulder cannon, and they're just picking off all of the xenomorphs as they flood out of this cave, to the point where the Predators eventually have to move back a little because the pile of xenobodies is so high that the xenomorphs can climb on top of it and start getting a height advantage on them.
Yes, it's like the Predators are playing Horde mode in
that's right,
in Fireteam Elite.
And so eventually the Horde, the waves start thinning out enough where some of the xenomorphs like slip out, and rather than like come out from the cave and charge the Predators, they like slip out the side and run off into the woods. And one of the Xenos that flee into the woods happens across Connor while he's standing there with his hollow filming all of it, and it goes to grab him and like wrap him up with his tail.
Yes.
But before he has the chance to do it, one of the Preds comes out and kills the Xenomorph.
Yep.
And then, in a moment I did not see coming, Connor gets knocked down onto the ground and then raises the camera to film the Predator. And the Predator thinks that the camera is a gun and then vaporizes Connor's head and then turns it around and walks off.
Just blasts him and walks off. Boom. Done.
Yeah.
No more. Shout out to Connor again.
That's right.
Yep.
It was pretty sweet, actually. I was like, oh shit, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like I knew they were going to die, but considering that they were literally, like you said, they made it sound like there are hundreds of these xenomorphs and only 3 predators. I was expecting one of the hundreds of xenomorphs to be the ones that kill the other main characters, not one of the 3 predators. That actually did catch me off guard.
Nope. Predator vaporizes Connor's head.
And then
pink mists him.
And then Kevin freaks out and decides he's going to get revenge on that Predator. And so turns out he managed to steal Lara's little handheld pistol. And so he goes and starts gunning for the Predator, and the Predator doesn't even turn around. His shoulder cannon just swivels in place and then craters Kevin's chest in, and then just walks off without even looking at him. And I was like, shit, okay, 2 in 1 page. Yep. Fuck, all right.
Kevin's dead.
And so...
hey, we don't need to talk about Kevin. Am I right?
You are right. That is correct. We don't need to.
Hey, Kevin. Kevin can't wait, can he? That's a thing, isn't it?
It is. Yes.
Okay. Are there any
nice
more?
Work.
Do I have more? Is we need to talk about Kevin a thing, or am I just?
No, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
That is a thing too. Yeah, you're correct.
All right.
You're pulling valid references. Don't worry. And so, of course, the 3 remaining people freak the fuck out and run off and take cover. And then something here happens that I couldn't quite track the logic of. Maybe you can figure this out where I couldn't. One of them, I don't remember who it was, Brendan maybe? I think it was Brendan, notices that there is no longer a satellite dish on the admin building that they were using as their HQ when there had been one before. And then from that, Lara manages to piece together that the company has been listening in on everything that's been happening on the planet, knows what's going on, and probably let it happen or even actively encouraged it to happen. And I did not understand how she was able to piece all that together from a missing satellite dish.
Same. So... just real quick, the 3 of them flee and hide out in like one of the broke down like work vehicles, a green crawler or something. They decide is good camouflage, and I think it only works that the predators are not particularly interested in the humans because obviously we know that they could track them with their masks if they wanted to, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. Brendan points to the roof of the complex and he's like, there was a satellite dish on it when we left. It's not there now. And she's like, it was working. Or Jess is like, it was working. And then Laura's like, they were tracking everything. They were watching those creatures kill everyone. That, I think, specifically is referring to when the xenomorphs killed the colony, not the predators and everything. And I think the implication is that the predators may have destroyed the satellite dish when they touch down or during the conflict, or maybe when Jess saw I'm reaching here because it's not explained. I'm extrapolating. Maybe the predator that Jess saw sneaking around the complex, the admin building, he was disabling the satellite dish or taking it down to cover what the predators were about to do.
Because there was also a moment earlier that I also couldn't really understand why it was there, and so I thought maybe it was tied into this and the 2 of them were related.
Yeah.
But when they were heading back to the admin building and the mics picked up that there was someone rummaging around in there, and so they didn't go in there and that's why they turned and fled. I was like, was that whoever it was that removed the satellite dish trying to like find something, and then they found the dish and took it, and that's why the dish is gone now. But like, what does that have to do
Right.
with the company watching what they're doing? Like, I wasn't able to make this connection there, and
No.
the story never really like the story
I think
talks about these things as if it's obvious how they're connected, but I didn't understand it.
I agree. I think it's a little messed up. I think that Brendan pointing out that there's a satellite dish there was one there and it's gone, made Lara realize that there was a satellite dish there, which means the company has been surveying and knowing what was going on in the complex in the colony the entire time.
It wasn't that the satellite dish was gone, it was that there was one in the first place. I got you.
And now him noting that it's gone means that they're no longer surveying the colony. And maybe you're right. Maybe that was the Predator banging around in there, and not what I thought it was maybe xenomorphs banging around inside the admin building, but maybe it was this Yautja guy messing around in there trying to disrupt things, communication systems and whatnot. Because I think that the Yautja are trying to cover up what's happening so that they're not exposed. You know what I mean?
And see, what I thought they were trying to say was that it was people sent by the company that were rummaging around in the building and took away the satellite dish because they're like, oh, well, the experiment's over now that the predators are here and killing all of these xenomorphs.
Like
like that.
So these guys, so our gang here is holed up in a crawler looking at where a satellite dish used to be. Behind them in one corner are 3 predators fighting like 27 xenomorphs. And then behind them to the other corner are like 2 dudes loading a satellite dish onto a Weyland-Yutani U-Haul and driving away with it.
Here's the thing. That idea doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't make any less sense than any of our other ideas because they don't explain anything.
I agree. I'm with you. I like it. I like the visual.
And so, because the company had been, as we see, the company had been monitoring them, the company knew that this film crew went in there. And so while the film crew was gone, they went in and raided their shit to try to find what they knew or get information or get footage or whatever. And then they were like, oh, well, there's a bunch of xenomorphs, and now that the predators are there, they're going to kill all of them anyway, so we don't need to keep monitoring this situation now that all the miners are dead, so they took the satellite dish away. Like I said, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and there's no evidence to support that, but it doesn't make any more or less sense than any of our other theories because they don't explain what that's even supposed to mean, so who knows what the explanation is.
Right. Yeah, it's sloppy for sure.
Yeah.
I think the only reason that they had to establish there was a satellite dish there was Weyland-Yutani's been monitoring the situation and knows what actually happened at the colony, which I don't think we needed that. And then they had to establish that the satellite dish was no longer there to show us that Weyland-Yutani has no idea what's going on there at this moment with the predators being there. And I think that there probably was a better way to do it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't have to do it at all. I probably wouldn't have questioned it if this hadn't been brought up at all,
Yeah, considering that the entire framing story of this is that the interrogators are like, we need you to tell us everything that happened there, implying that they don't know about any of it,
Well, I think that they're probably doing that to stress her. It's an interrogation technique. Make her go over her story a whole bunch of time, look for holes, make sure everything lines up with what we already know to make sure she's not lying, etc. Right?
Sure.
They're going to really put her through the ringer to really make sure she's cooperating. But also, maybe the quickest fix for this would have been hey, look, that satellite dish has been damaged. It wasn't damaged when we first got here, but now it's all fucked up. Easy fix. It's not gone.
Yeah,
it's been
I will
messed
say
up.
though that thinking about it now, it is necessary for the end of the story to happen,
Yeah.
for the satellite dish to get destroyed, and for the company to not know what happened here at the end of the story.
Right.
So that part does, in retrospect, sort of make sense. Yes.
Yeah. It needed to happen. I think that there was just a better way for it to happen than just be like, oh, it's gone now. It just needed to be, oh, it's out of service now, right?
Yeah, maybe like one of the Predator shoulder cannon shots like went wide and took it out or whatever, you know.
Yeah, but I think
But anyway.
you're onto something when whatever it was, which I think is the Predator, was in the admin building messing things up and keeping our film crew from headed back there. He was in there destroying surveillance systems to clear the path for his homies to land. And he's probably the one who sabotaged the satellite dish. Anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, anyway. It's getting close to the time of them needing to get picked up by their pilot. So they head out, and when they're about to get to the landing pad, they get stopped by the Predators.
Right.
And the 3 of them that are left are like, all right, man, it's fine. Hands up. We're going to put our equipment down. And then if you just let us walk away, it's fine. They put their equipment down. And as they walk off, they hear but not see the Predators blow up all of their camera equipment, which while reading the story, I went, weird choice, but all right, whatever. I mean, we don't know necessarily what these Predators' motives are. And it's already been established, as per the discussion we just had, that they don't want to be known or seen of being here. So maybe that's why it's fine.
Yeah, this also, she's thinking they might think it's a weapon. She said that when Connor raised his camera up. And that's her thinking here now. But now I'm thinking like, you know what? It is probably that satellite dish thing also. They probably don't want to be exposed, right? They don't want anyone knowing, like seeing them.
Right.
So, yeah.
So the ship lands and they climb on, and then just as they're climbing on, a xenomorph comes out of nowhere and grabs Lara and pulls her away and drags her off and kills her as the ship pulls off and flies away.
He tails her through the chest and drags her away, right? Her body shuddered and blood spurted from her chest. Part of me was thinking, did she get face hugged? And then it goes on to describe that alien bug when rose up and dragged her away with its tail, etc. Right.
So Miss Jess Phillip and Brendan are the only survivors, and then at this point, it cuts back to the interrogation, and we find out almost immediately via internal monologue that Jess completely lied about what just happened.
Heaven help me if they found out that I lied about Lara dying before she made it to Jian Station with the holo cars and the data about what really happened on Tenebris. In that case, so Connor and Kevin really would have died in vain, and what happened on that derelict planet would happen again.
So it turns out Lara didn't get killed and the Predators didn't blow up their equipment. That was a lie she told them to give Lara enough time to be able to go publish the footage that she got.
Yes. Yep.
And I was like, oh shit, okay, I kind of actually didn't see that coming. That's an interesting twist.
Same here, although I thought maybe the Predators did still destroy all the equipment, but they had separated out the holo cards, right? Like in their pockets or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Because those are probably just like micro SD cards or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But whatever. It doesn't, splitting hairs. Who cares? Point is, she might have pulled one over on the company.
Could be.
Yeah. Because when they were sitting in the crawler, Jess had a change of heart. She's always thought of Lara on this whole trip as like this spoiled rich girl trying to make a name for herself in these eco docs and blah, 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 blah. And now she's like, she really believes in her cause. Because Laura's like, we have to let the people know what's really going on, what the company's really doing to everybody. We have to expose how evil they are.
Yeah.
And she's like, I believe in her now,
That's right. That's the story Film School.
Yep.
That's basically how it ends right there.
Yes, can't stress enough. The fight scene was several pages or pretty long. The fight scene between the predators and the xenomorphs.
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty long and it was pretty sweet. Like I straight up even described in my notes pretty cool fight scene between the Xenos and the Preds.
Yep.
Yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
What did you think of this story?
I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't as impressed by it as the other two we did in the previous episode.
Right.
Of the three that we've covered so far, this is my least favorite, but that's not to say that it's bad. It's just because I like the other two more. The other characters only got like the absolute barest minimum of like personality to be able to tell them apart, and even then I still kind of really couldn't. But I thought the main character, who like she didn't really have much of a personality, but since she's like the viewpoint character, we spent enough time with her that I started to like understand who she was as a person, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought like the hook, like the setup of these people are going in there to like film a documentary and they get attacked by xenomorphs. I thought that was like a fun premise because it's not really something I've seen before in an alien story.
Yeah.
So I thought the story was pretty good.
I liked it. It kind of delivered on what I was thinking about, what I was saying in our last episode of like, I don't really want a lot of stories where it's like humans having to team up with predators to deal with the xenomorph threat. Because I was like, I bet we're going to get a lot of that. And this one very clearly wasn't that. It wasn't. No, the predators were extremely antagonistic towards the humans, which I did appreciate. Yes, the predators are the only ones who killed our main cast of characters here, right?
Yeah, the xenomorphs weren't a threat in that specific sense. Yeah,
yeah, and I like that twist because I think I prefer my predators as sort of stone cold killers, the way they are presented in the Solo movies for the most part, right?
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I think they're scarier that way, and I think they're a little bit more interesting that way. I'm not a big fan of the noble, hunter predator thing that we had a bunch of already.
For sure.
Yeah, so I enjoyed this one. I like the twist. I like the spin.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not sure I believe in the ability of these 5 people to be able to survive this encounter. Except that, I think that the author did a good job setting up a reason why the xenomorphs are dead set on killing the predators, what with the bug bomb and everything, right?
Yeah.
And mostly ignoring the humans.
For sure.
I also think that the predator... is this how predators hunt? Like, they're literally playing a video game, right? They're literally playing like a horde mode video game. They're landing here. They're like, all right, let's wake them up and let's just kill like 300 of them. And then we're going to go home. It's going to be sweet. We got the boys together. Let's go game,
That's right.
It's
pretty much is what happens. Yeah.
It's very funny, but it was cool. I enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the first 2 stories either.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Ready to get into Night Doctors?
Sure am.
By Maurice Broaddus. A prolific author. Written quite a few novels, including the Astra Black trilogy, an award-winning novel, there we go, called Pimp My Airship.
All right.
He writes a lot of urban fantasy and science fiction, a number of young adult novels, anthologies, and novellas, including one called Sorcerers, which was illustrated by an artist who I'm a big fan of named Jim Mahfood.
All right.
Who, I don't know if he does a lot of comic book work. He's a mixed media artist, does a lot of comic book work and variant covers.
I've not heard of him, no.
Oh, huge fan of Jim Mahfood.
All right. I actually haven't heard of this writer either. This is the first work by him I've ever come across.
Okay. Yeah, he's got quite a few books, quite quite a few contributions to anthologies, quite a lot of short fiction. Let's see. He contributed to a Black Panther Tales of Wakanda anthology. You probably don't read a lot of Marvel prose fiction, do you?
Not really, no.
Yep, big body of work for Maurice Broaddus. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
talk a little bit about the title, too, Night Doctors.
Yeah.
Which, as is pointed out in this story, a night doctor, this was a term that was used historically to refer to, in American history primarily, but not exclusively, in the 18th and 19th century, doctors who would steal primarily African-American corpses through various means in order to experiment on the cadavers, particularly for medical schools.
They sure are that, yeah.
Yep. Stealing, grave robbing, buying slave corpses, not occasionally, more often than you would think, murdering black people for their corpses, etc. Very terrible time. And there was just a lot of experimenting on the corpses of black people throughout the 18th and 19th centuries in America. Maurice Broaddus references a lot of black history and civil rights issues in this story as well.
He does, yes. The elements of racial tension play a huge thematic role in this story.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I thought was really interesting. I didn't really pick it up at first, but after the story started making it like a little bit more explicit that that's what this story was doing, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." You know, like, again, something else that I haven't ever seen in an Alien story where, like, yeah, sure, there's like xenomorphs and there's predators and stuff, but thematically, the big bad of this story is racism.
It is. Yep.
Which I thought was a really interesting move. You know, I was like, oh, okay, it's cool that somebody would have thought to do that with an Alien story. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. The references are pretty. I mean, the references are very direct and explicit, which I think you have to be when you're working in a short fiction like this.
For sure.
One thing that was a little bit. It didn't jump out. I mean, obviously he's referencing historic events, and this story is set way in the future. And I appreciated that they were real events as opposed to him making up events to set it in, in to make it fit it fit into the future, right?
Yeah, fit into like a sci-fi milieu. There's one point where somebody gets called, quote, Space Marcus Garvey, if I recall.
Yes.
Yeah. For instance.
Yep. So. Anyway, just want to set that stuff up top here. Let's jump into it.
All right. The two lead characters are Neoda Dorsey and Miles Byfield, and they're siblings. They live in the colony of New Allensworth, which later on we're told is on the planet LV-333 around the star Zamidi Mura.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't find that out until later on in the story. But yeah, they're in New Allensworth, which is a colony that was set up for, I believe the specific phrase they use is the African diaspora and their descendants.
Yep.
Diaspora, sorry.
Yep, the African diaspora and their allies who wanted a fresh start. Yep.
And so yeah, basically the hook of this story in the beginning is that Neoda, who is the lead, is what is referred to as a griot.
Yep.
Which is like a real thing. It's like, you know, like the storyteller of the like tribe that remembers all of their history and passes down all the oral traditions and stuff.
Right.
And he, meanwhile, is a cellular biologist.
I like the hook that she's a griot, which is why she knows all of this history, you know, and is able to in her mind is making all of these connections as the story goes on.
Yeah, she definitely does. Like anytime a situation happens, we get like a little internal monologue where she like relates some like bad element of like black history and how it like relates or reminds her about what's happening to them right now, which I thought was again a really interesting twist. We've never really had a character like that before, you know?
Nope.
Anyway, Miles, her brother, is sick, and she's hauling him off to Med Lab 1, which, as it's described, basically the way the colony works is the colonists showed up, and the company just let them run the colony however they wanted to without company oversight, with one exception. Med Lab 1, the med bay there, is run by Wayland Yutani, and that's it. That's it. You can't do anything about it.
Yep.
That's like the only real oversight presence they have in the colony. And so she leads him there, and he's like, complaining about it the entire time. He's like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just regularly sick.
Yeah.
I have the flu. And then he goes, maybe it's a space flu. And then she's like, it also seems like you might have allergies. And he goes, space allergies.
Yes. And she's like, you can't keep sticking the word space in front of stuff now that we're in space, which I think is very funny because that's something we regularly do on the intros.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so
it's a great bit.
So she leads him to Med Lab 1, and they immediately run into what we immediately gets told is an android, and he's like a tall, thin, blonde guy with blue eyes. And as the narrative even says, a blonde man, well, male presenting. And then in my notes I wrote woke with a whole bunch of exclamation points after it.
And then it's because he's a synthetic.
That's right.
Yep.
And so anyway, the android tries to introduce himself, and Miles cuts him off and says, your name is Chad. I call all of you Chad because you're all indistinguishable from each other to me. And then, in a very funny choice, for the rest of the story after this, the narrative just refers to this robot as Chad, even though he makes it clear that's not actually his name.
Yeah. Now, when I read a blonde man, did they say he had blue eyes?
They might not have. I don't remember. But the other character we're about to be introduced to definitely does have blue eyes.
Yeah, he's a tall blonde man in a blue smock. I pictured David while reading this, just so everybody knows.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. I think thematically it fits as well. I pictured a David model.
Yeah, sure. Why not? That seems reasonable to me.
Not David himself, but a David model,
Yeah, I got you. Like David 13 or whatever.
Sure.
And so Chad is like, going through, getting his symptoms, trying to figure out what's wrong with him, why he's sick.
I picture David a lot, guys.
I'm sure you do. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And then while he's giving his symptoms, we're revealed to another character who's there, who is a human, Dr. Ann Sanger.
Who just rises up from the floor out of nowhere.
Yeah, pretty much. And she does have blue eyes because she's very much described as having like light ice blue eyes and like unnaturally blonde hair that she has combed over to the side. And I was like, oh, okay. Based on the elements of other racial tension so far in the story, they're being like, she's Aryan Brotherhood. Okay, I got it.
Extremely Aryan in presentation.
And she is also an extremely rude, stuck-up jerk to them. And but she manages to give them the checkup, figure out what's going on, and then she lets slip that both Neota and Miles have some kind of genetic predisposition to like certain kinds of autoimmune disorders. And when I was reading that, I was like, oh, this is her just being a bitch to them again. Turns out that's actually narratively relevant and it comes up later, but for now I didn't know it was supposed to come up later, so that's why I'm mentioning it now.
Sorry, I was thinking about David. Did you mention that this infection has been spreading through a lot of the colonists?
I did not. I forgot to mention that.
Yes. So this has been spreading through a lot of the colonists, and not all of them have been able to clear it right away. Some of them need an additional antibiotic, she says, and he may be struggling to clear it because of this predisposition.
Yeah, and it seems like when people get sick, they stay sick with it for a while, which they seem to find kind of strange.
Right.
Yeah. And then after the checkup, Miles is like, am I good? And she's like, well, I mean, I'd like to keep you for more testing and investigation, but like, I can't keep you here. So I guess you can leave if you want to. And he goes, I want to. So him and Neota leave and then go for a walk. And then as they're walking back to the colony, because like the med lab is like built on the outskirts of the town, as they're walking by back through the woods, suddenly there's just a predator there.
Yeah, real quick. One of the things that Neota was recalling during this tense conversation with the doctor was remembering experiments that were done on black women and black men, the Tuskegee syphilis study, where they were giving black men syphilis on purpose just to study how it affects the body and everything. Just cruel experiments done just to see what these diseases do to people.
Yeah, and again, since she's a griot, these are the kinds of connections she's constantly making through the story.
Yeah.
And this is, she's like seeing the way that Anne is treating her brother, and she's like, you know what this reminds me of?
Right. She's thinking this to herself. She's not, saying it to the doctor. The doctor does say she has iatrophobia, which is a fear of doctors. And you're kind of thinking like, I can kind of understand why. Also, I don't think we mentioned that Neota is wearing a slim environmental protection suit with a rebreather that she wears everywhere outside.
Yes, I did forget to mention that too. Yes, that's correct.
Right. That she wears every time she goes outside on this planet, which is important later, right?
It is, yes.
Yeah, when she blasts out of the airlock. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
So yeah, like I said, they're on their way back, and then there's just suddenly a predator there. No tease, no build up. She just turns around, and there's just one walking by who he doesn't seem to notice them is the key thing.
Yeah, and
if he does, he totally ignores them, so we have no reason to think that he knows that they're there. He just walks by, looks around, and then just walks into the woods and keeps going.
He's emaciated. His clothing, it's not like good armor. It's just like weirdly assembled and ill-fitting. And he's searching. He's like looking up at the sky. He just seems confused. What does it say? He disappears in the trees, but another stealthy movement hinted, and that he scampered up. Sorry, that's not what I meant to look at. He's hunched over, creeping low. He just seems all fucked up, basically.
Yeah. And then right after he walks back into the woods.
I like that that Neota is just like, I know what that is.
Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, she's like, she turns and sees him, and she goes, "Oh, hey, it's a predator." And then it's explained that like because she's a griot, she knows what predators are.
Yeah, and I think was she in the Colonial Marines at one point, or she just knows it because she's a griot. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I think so.
She knew about them. All griots had been briefed with stories on them, but she hadn't expected to encounter them here, not in New Allensworth. But there it was.
Yeah, he just walks by, and then immediately after that, the android Chad also just strolls by, and then the predator comes out, and the two of them get into a fight, and Chad kicks the predator's ass.
Yep, I like the scene where the predator like knocks him in the face, and it knocks Chad's face plate crooked, and he just corrects his own faceplate and then beats the shit out of the predator. I don't like that he beats the shit out of the predator in the context of this story, but I like the detail of that. You hit him in the face and it like knocks his face askew.
And then he takes a second to fix it, even though he probably doesn't even need to, you know?
Right. Because he's an android. He can just like, his faceplate shifted. He nudged it back into place. Yeah, I was like, that's fun.
And then, kicks the Predator's ass and drags him away. And then something happens that I don't quite understand or quite know how to describe it. Like, I wasn't able to quite process what the description of this event was telling me happened. But I think what happens is that Nyota pieces together that the med lab, like the Resident Evil lab underneath Raccoon City in RE1, there's like more floors of it underground than we see on the surface.
Yes.
And so in an attempt to get into it, I think she like finds a hidden hatch in the ground and then opens it up and goes into the cave system it was covering up. I think that's what the story is trying to tell me she did, but I'm honestly not entirely sure.
So the MedLab 1 is made out of the Babalue, which was the colony ship they came here on.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's the entirety of the ship, MedLab 1. We can see all of it. So I don't understand where they're going, how the doctor came up from underneath it, et cetera, et cetera. So she starts scanning it with some like scanning binoculars she has, and she scans the terrain around it, and she sort of sees some geography that hints that there's more natural, not natural, but like pre-existing structure on the planet below it, like old architecture from a previous civilization.
All right.
And she's able to like trace the geography and find what must be an access panel. And she opens it up. Basically, she says, MedLab 1 sits on top of another structure, something hollow. And I was thinking, and then when they get underneath, they describe it as kind of having like, kind of like the hallways with the rib cages sort of thing, like we see in Prometheus. So I was part of me was kind of thinking, are they describing, is this like a buried engineer facility that they've landed on, or is this like Yautja architecture that I'm not familiar with?
Except she also describes there as being something to the equivalent of cave paintings on the wall.
Right. But that also feels very Prometheus-y, right?
That's true. That's true.
When there were cave paintings all over the place from other civilizations that encountered engineers.
But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. She figures out that there's got to be more to the med lab than what we're just seeing above ground, and so she manages to find like a hatch leading to like a cave system that they can go through to get to like the underground section of Med Lab 1.
Right. She says this is once a settlement of some sort. And then
as they're walking, Miles makes it clear he's still sick. He starts coughing again and complains about headaches. And they while they wander through the cave a bit more, they come across this big like cavern area and stumble across some, again, what we immediately recognize to be ovomorph eggs. And then something kind of cool happens. Neota's looking at it and going, that's interesting. There's something moving around in there. That's wild. And then as she's like getting close to it and about to touch it, Miles steps between her and the egg. And as soon as he does, the thing inside the egg stops thrashing around.
Yeah.
And so in my brain, I went, oh, Miles must have some sort of like serious or terminal illness that he doesn't know about that like makes the facehugger think he's like an unviable host. That's interesting, considering that the doctor even said earlier they share an autoimmune disease. Maybe that's what it is. That's a cool twist.
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah, I thought that was a nice detail. Real quick, the conversation of the MedLab 1 being built on like an original settlement. This is another reference Nyota makes in her head of Seneca Village in New York City, which was a black community in 1855 that the city then took the land over and built Central Park over. This is, again, some real history.
It sure is.
Yep.
And again, like you said earlier, one thing I do appreciate is that he doesn't make up fake things to happen to make it feel spacey, you know?
Right. Yeah. So let's continue on.
They
After
they
finding
invest
the overmorph, after finding the overmorph,
overmorph. All right, I like that overmorph.
they then find a room with a bunch of cryopods that look like the ones just like the normal humans use. Like same, it's not alien technology, it's human technology, like Wayland Yutani tech, but they're longer. And behind them is a bunch of predator armor. And so, we learn very quickly that there's predators inside these things.
Yeah, and they happen to pick one of the things at random to look in, and the predator that they find is very specifically the emaciated one they saw earlier. And then, while they're investigating that, suddenly Dr. Ann shows up out of nowhere, welcoming them to MedLab 2.
Bum, bum, bum.
And look. Considering our two leads are black people, and Dr. Ann is very explicitly described as looking very Aryan, I assumed she was going to be the bad guy, but I did not expect her to be working with the xenomorphs in some capacity, so I was not actually expecting her to show up here at this moment in the story. That did kind of catch me off guard.
Yeah, right away. This story's not fucking around.
And anyway, she has her classic villain monologue where she gives some blah blah shit about needing to study the predators for science and like experiment on them for the greater good. And then she pushes a button and then a door slides open and then there's just a queen there.
Yeah, she's got limbs cut off, desiccated limbs, skulls, pieces of xenomorph and stuff around, and then she's like, "Look what I got!" Boom, xenomorph queen.
And then like earlier when the predator was just there with like no buildup and no like nothing like that at all. Same thing with the queen. She presses a button and there just is the queen there. And
Internecivus raptus, from the Latin meaning
that's right.
murderous thief. I nicknamed this one Queen Hottentot.
That's right.
Did you look that up? I did not look that up.
Neither did I, no. But we also get told about this big vivisection, like mounted vivisection laser that she has.
A term that was historically used by Europeans to refer to the Khoikhoi, an indigenous nomadic people in South Africa. Now considered offensive by some, with one preferred alternative name for non-Bantus. I'm glad I said it out loud on a podcast. I apologize to everybody.
Cool. So in other words, Dr. Ann explicitly is actually racist in this story. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, she is. Yes, she is.
All right.
Brother.
So yeah, like I said, she has this big mounted vivisection laser that she was using to cut up and experiment on ovo eggs on, and also she even used it on the queen to like slice off parts of her body. That's why she has like a withered arm and things like that.
Jesus.
And then right around this point, while talking about that, that's when we get the title drop of when the story tells us what night doctors are.
From the 18th century onwards, the term that she named the queen, that I'm not going to repeat again, was also a term of abuse without a specific ethnic sense, comparable to barbarian or cannibal. Developed its connotations of savagery and primitivism by the 17th century. So it's just a terrible word used to demean people and basically call them not human, with a lot of racial just horribleness baked right in. And I said it out loud on a podcast.
It's fine. I mean, what else are we going to do?
Yeah.
It already happened. Unless you want to go back and edit it out.
Well, I'm not going to edit it out. I'd rather everybody hear me now learn about that and be sorry that I said it, and explain to people what it means and why nobody should be using that term. And also, we can all learn from this.
And then, after she sees the vivisection laser and sees what Dr. Anne has done to the Queen with it, and then makes the parallels to the Night Doctors, which is where the title drop comes in. And then she reveals that the walls of the cavern they're in are a bunch of cages with surgically altered xenomorphs inside of the cages that have gotten, like, limbs removed or replaced, or, like, armor panels taken off or whatever. And then in my notes I wrote, surgically altered Xenos caged up, which have got to open up to kill her by the end of the story. I mean, come on. And then she rants for a while, telling Neota and therefore us about the xenomorph life cycle, which we already know, and the DNA reflex, which we already know. So this story has another this story has another classic moment of the story grinding to a halt to tell us about the life cycle of the xenomorph, which happens in like every Alien story. This one does it too.
It does. This one's a little interesting though, because she uses terms like, people call this version the face hugger, colloquial called the face hugger, and the chest burster. And she's using the Plagiaris Praepotens explanation for it. And in this context, to me, it really jumped out as like her talking about, in a weird way, and this may be some kind of projection, this isn't in the text, but given everything around it, a version of like a conversation about race mixing bloodlines and eugenics, just causing it, saying it, we've been studying how this works, how it changes the host DNA and it mixes for the next cycle and adapts and all of this kind of stuff. Like, it's got this kind of loaded context in the context of this story and the way that the doctor is looking at the creatures.
Since we've already pieced together that Anne like is explicitly racist, she like you said, she makes the connection between like studying xenomorphs and how she what she's doing to them surgically, and like makes the connection there between like eugenics and things like that. And of course Neota, being a griot, already picked all that stuff up herself as well, and so she's like, oh god, here we go.
And as she's giving this long speech, Miles coughs.
He sure does, and that cough leads to some more coughing and then some more chest pain, and then wouldn't you know it, he suddenly dies via chest burster.
Boom.
And Anne is like, oh boy, let's go, this whole time, which makes it extra funny when the moment the chest burster pops out, Neota goes, oh shit, and picks up a scalpel and then cuts the xenomorph or the chest burster's head off.
And Neota's like, oh,
well, actually, sorry, that's not what she does. She actually stabs it. She doesn't cut its head off, but she straight up, it pops out and she goes, oh shit, and then immediately just kills it with a knife.
Yeah, it's Dr. Sanger who pries the skull bones out. Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, how could you do that?" And she's like, "Well, I'll still be able to study this. I can still collect data from this." Oh well.
And then Anne has like another rant, but this one is more of like a motive rant than anything else. And she basically says that this colony's true purpose is to like test chestburster infections on people, but they've done it in like a weird way that, again, I've never seen before. They figured out how to make chestbursters grow in people, but then before they burst out, they wither away and die, and then the body's natural immune system breaks down and removes the chestburster. And so they're able to just test people repeatedly, like cyclically, over and over again, since the chestburster won't kill them. And then so Neota's like, then why the hell did Miles just die? And she goes, well, remember that autoimmune problem that I mentioned you guys had earlier? Well,
Yeah, the underlying condition left him immunocompromised. It allowed the pathogen to adapt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was able to kill him in a way it wasn't able to kill the other residents. And so that is also why people stay sick for so long, because they just get this parasite in them over and over and over again. And
Yeah. So
Yeah, go ahead.
So are they? So is she extracting the Plagiaris praepotens from facehuggers and then delivering it to the colonists without them knowing, because they're not actually getting face hugged? They would know about that, right? They're just getting this stuff injected into them somehow.
Presumably, yeah.
Yeah, because they're trying to perfect a treatment against xenomorph implantation.
And that's probably why, how Anne mentioned earlier, she's like, some of these people are sick for a really long time, which means they will need additional antibiotics. That's probably what that medication actually is, you know?
Crazy.
So yeah, turns out though that, as mentioned earlier, Neota has the same autoimmune deficiency, and so Anne wants to capture her to study her to like figure out how to get around that immunodeficiency problem. And Neota is basically like, fuck that, and then reaches behind her and taps a button that, by happenstance, opens all of the cages with the disfigured Xenos in them.
Ooh. We should say the doctor really wants to get her hands on Neota because she's like a perfect specimen, since she's been wearing this environmental suit her whole time. The whole time she's been on this planet, she's a perfect control subject. She hasn't been in touch with any of the local flora or anything, right? She's like, you're mine.
And so, she releases the disfigured Xenos on her and then uses the confusion to escape to the previous chamber where all the predators were. And she releases all of them.
Yep. She opens up the predator tubes.
And then she then goes over to that mounted vivisection laser that we saw earlier, and she blasts away one of the Xenos that was about to attack the Predator, and then pushes another button and burns all of the ovo eggs, because they had also been like experimented on and disfigured by Anne.
Right.
And she even has like a little conversation with the Queen beforehand, and she's like, look, I know these were your kids, but I can't imagine you would ever want to see them living a half-life like this. I'm sure you would believe that they were better off dead than better off doing whatever experiment she was going to do. And she decides that the Queen probably agrees with her and then burns them.
Yeah, it got a little confused here for me. The predators wake up. They don't attack Neota, obviously. They all gear up. They leave her alone. They understand, like, we got to stop the bigger threat. We're all on the same side, essentially. She's talking to the Queen to essentially say, we all want to be free, right? We need to band together against this oppression. The Queen isn't, like, really responding to her, obviously. The Queen's been weakened and dying, essentially. It's worth noting. Yeah. But I don't know, the Queen kind of seems on board as far as we can tell, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the Queen is never explicitly described as like being mad. Like, even after she torches the eggs, the Queen doesn't seem particularly mad about it. And so she either understands what Neota was doing or is too busy dying to care that much. Although she does send out one more egg that is like a perfect regular ovomorph egg.
Right. One last egg. Hope for their future.
And then, she torches all the experiment ovos. And then at that point, Anne goes crazy and picks up a scalpel and charges Neota with it. But then the Queen impales Anne through the chest with her big tail and then slams her hard enough against the wall to kill her. And then the Queen herself dies.
Oh, we also, the Predator throws one of those spiked frisbees and kills Chad.
He does, yes. Slices his chest open vertically, like it impales the center of his chest, and then he just gets bisected vertically from it. And then at this point, I want to stop and say, if you guys want a relatively abrupt but pretty satisfying end to the story, stop here.
Mm-hmm.
Because the story only has 3 more paragraphs left, but around those 3 paragraphs, I literally wrote, "Bro, are you fucking for real right now?" So I just want to stop right here and say, if you want a moderately satisfying end to the story, do not listen to what happens at the end.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Do you mind if I just straight up read verbatim what happens at the very end of the story?
Go for it.
As the doctor's body slid to the floor, Neota turned to the creature. The rest of the Predator's pack slowly closed ranks around her. She locked her eyes onto their leader, unflinching, despite the pounding within her chest. The Predator paused for a heartbeat in careful appraisal. "We all want to be free," Neota's voice played back from the Predator's helmet. The creature took its talon of a finger and etched a mark into her forehead. A trickle of blood issued down her face. The other predators took note and began to don their gear. Neota picked up the queen's final egg, securing it within a lockbox before stuffing it into her pack, fulfilling her unspoken promise. Then she turned to the screen. "We're coming for you, Weyland-Yutani, and we're going to bring this whole system down."
They're going to bring the fight to Weyland-Yutani, everybody.
Bro, she literally looks into the fucking camera and says, "We're bringing the fight to you."
I know.
I lost my fucking mind, dude. You have no idea.
There should be a mandate that you can't end stories with a group of plucky survivors bringing the fight straight to Weyland-Yutani. You're not allowed to set that up. If you, like in the case of like the comic books, if you get a second series and you want to do that with them, you can start it then. You can't do it at the end of your previous series. And you can't end your short stories like this, everybody.
Dude, I could not fucking believe it. I was out of my mind, dude. I was agog. I was agape, agasp, dude. You have no idea. I went insane when I found out that's how the story ended.
I couldn't even make the joke of that's how the story ended because that's just how the story ended.
That's literally how it is. She literally looks at the camera and says, "We're bringing the fight to you, Weyland-Yutani," because like they literally say in the narrative, she looks at the screen and then says it, and I chose to interpret it that as she's looking directly at the reader and says it to them.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man, and just like in the original AvP comic, we have like you said, one plucky survivor who showed her true colors well enough that the predators have her join their clan.
Yep. In this instance, she did save them all from medical experimentation. So
that's true.
You know, good for her. It feels pretty earned in this. I mean, not that it didn't feel earned in that, but it feels earned in this, you know.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, again, I think that's going to happen a lot. I wonder how many times it happens in this book. I don't really care to find out.
Well, I mean, if we get through the whole book, I guess we'll have to keep track of it.
12, 13, 14,
but
15,
yeah, anyway, that's how the story ends. That is the end of the Night Doctor's short story.
Yep.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I thought it was pretty cool too, except for the very ending. But the ending, it didn't even really piss me off because it was so audaciously dumb that I was like, you know what, whatever. But like, other than that, I thought the rest of the story was cool.
I'm having a hard time. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. This is a me issue. Rationalizing with wanting to free the xenomorphs, especially on a colony planet here. I mean, I understand that they all pretty much died, but also we know that all of these colonists have been essentially impregnated and some of them are going to burst.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing to stop that now, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And now she's also got an ovomorph that she's just going to be carrying around.
Yeah, which seems not like the best idea there is, but hey, what do I know?
I don't think that the intention is that you're supposed to compare xenomorphs to human beings who have been mistreated and experimented on. I don't think that's the author's intent, but it can read a little bit like that in certain ways. And I guess you can't really tell a story about trying to stop horrific medical experimentations on living beings if you still at the end of your story are like, except for this group, they're fine, right?
Yeah.
And I guess the argument of like, well, xenomorphs are just doing what xenomorphs do by their nature, and if we weren't bringing them here and screwing with them, they wouldn't be attacking this colony. We wouldn't be in danger if we had just stayed out of their way and left them alone in the first place, and we weren't going out there to find them. There's definitely a logic in all of that as well, right?
Sure.
We brought this on ourselves by trying to capture them and weaponize them and experiment on them for medical purposes. There we go. That's the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our own fault for meddling with nature, So
yeah,
if I keep all of those things in mind, I feel better about it all. In the specific context of the story alone, it's, I have to remember the greater alien universe, and then I'm able to reconcile it a lot easier.
That's fair.
Yeah. But in the context of just the story alone, I'm not sure how successfully it stands up just as a little capsule. But it's not supposed to be just a little capsule. It's a story that takes place in this larger universe, which we are supposed to be, are expected to already be familiar with.
Yeah, and like I think this story does a lot of interesting stuff. Like I said, it's the first alien story I've ever come across where the bad guy is explicitly racism, which I thought was cool. I like the hook of like figuring out a way to make the chestbursters not kill people so they can just experiment on the same people over and over again without having to bring in more colonists. I thought that was really interesting. Like the story does a lot of really interesting stuff. Yeah. And so overall, I thought this story like was pretty cool, and I enjoyed reading it. The one thing that I didn't love about it, other than the ending, is how every time an alien shows up, it's just suddenly there. Like we don't get any build up or any like tenseness about like what's going to happen, where is it, and also. I think the story takes a little too long to really kind of get going. Because like the Predator, who is the first alien we see, doesn't show up until halfway through the story. And it's like, I know that's like the standard like alien setup, because like the facehugger doesn't show up until halfway through Alien, and like halfway through a movie is longer than halfway through this story. Yes, I know. But like what that means is that since the story is only 24 pages long, that means we only have like 11 or 12 pages to like work with aliens at all, and like that's when the Predator shows up. The xenomorphs don't show up until several pages later. Like the xenomorphs aren't even in the story until like almost the climax of it. They're only in the last like quarter of the story.
Yeah, and none of them.
So I just think it takes a little bit too long to get into where it's trying to go. But like other than that, I think the story is cool.
Right. Well, this was a story about Weyland-Yutani and colonists that just happened to have predators and xenomorphs in it.
For sure.
But they didn't get to do any cool alien and predator stuff, really, right?
Yeah, not really.
Which is maybe what we're expecting.
The predators never really actually like do anything. Like the only time a predator really does anything is he gets his ass kicked by an android. And that's it. That's the only thing a predator ever does.
And then he one-shots the android with a weapon.
No, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yes, that's true.
Which was cool.
Yeah. He got his revenge, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, it's it turns out humans are the deadliest of the species.
That's right. That's right.
I like the themes. I like that you can try to spin in a lot of other stories. There's a way to spin like, no, our purposes are noble. And this talked about it also, like, no, where, you know, these experiments are necessary to try to save lives, but, you know, we're exploring, like, but what's the cost and why are you choosing these people's lives to sacrifice in order to try to save more? It's it's all very real, and putting a very evil person in charge of all of that, like, really highlights, like, puts a very specific, sinister outlook on those things versus a different story where it may feel more benevolent than, you know, this kind of, like, no, we were doing this experiment to try to save lives might feel more benevolent than it does in this story, where it's just very much like, yeah, I don't care about any of you. I'm going to do this to save lives that matter because yours don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Weyland-Yutani doesn't think you guys' lives matter, and that's why, and this is the real reason they decided to sort of help subsidize your colonies, because we want to just use you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's pretty heavy themes, really. And the exploration, like, of these racial dynamics, it's something that we didn't talk a whole lot about it, but it's really heavily present in Romulus as well, right?
It is, yeah.
With Andy, with David Johnson's character, not just being a synthetic, but being, you know, a black man, and all of the talk in that movie about synths not being allowed at the planet that they're going to, and him not really being her brother, and all of that stuff, and all of, you know, does his life matter, and all of that. This isn't the first time. I don't know what year Romulus came out, and this book came out in 2022.
Romulus came out after that.
Okay. Well, the series has explored these themes other times, is my point.
Yeah.
And explored a lot of other complex themes, obviously. Just the concept of rape in the alien and sexual assault in the alien creature itself to begin with, right? So
kind of the whole point of the first movie, and therefore the franchise as a whole. Yeah.
Yeah. So this franchise's ability to sort of tackle complex and horrible topics like this, it's interesting how much, like, how people are able to adapt this series to talk about a number of atrocities.
Yeah, just kind of whatever they want to, you know, talk about with it, using it as a framework, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was cool.
I'm sure someone out there's going, it's so woke. Bleh. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, the story is woke as hell, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Fucking deal with it. Exactly. Yep. I dug it. I enjoyed this one more than the previous story, although I think it needed like 2 or 3 more pages.
I might agree with you there. Yeah. Like when I said earlier about film school, how I said at the end, I was like, of the 3 stories we've read so far, this one is probably my least favorite. Not to say that I think it's bad. The reason I phrased it that way was not to imply that the next story I would like less than that one, because I think I did also like this one more than film school.
You just weren't tipping your hand.
Yeah, I just didn't want to, give a hint either way.
Right. I think the reason is because this was exploring just deeper ideas. This wasn't just like a clash between alien creatures and action and this and that. This was
like the original movie,
trying to do something different. Right.
That's right. Like the original movie, it was trying to do more than just tell a story about an alien fighting people, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It had capital T themes in mind.
There you go. Any other thoughts on either of these stories?
I'm looking through my notes to make sure, but I don't think so. No, I think we got it. I think I got everything. I think I'm good.
Okay. I think I'm ready to wrap it up.
Cool.
So I think I'm also good to take a pause on the Ultimate Prey episodes for a while.
Fine by me.
Yeah. So I think we're going to do the Alien versus Predator movie pretty soon, guys. Not next.
Yeah, it won't be the next episode, but one of the next few. Yeah.
Yeah, teeing that up. We're doing that with a guest. We've been talking to one of our friends about doing that episode essentially since the podcast began.
That is correct. Yes.
And we want to fulfill our promises. Yep.
And finally, after like 3 years or whatever, we're finally doing it.
Yep. I've been holding, I've had him on the schedule for that since the very beginning. So we're going to make sure scheduling for that comes through, and we're going to get to AvP, Alien Singular versus Predator, very soon. Before that, I think, I don't know, you want to play a video game or something since I'm feeling okay?
Yeah, we were talking about doing a game, but we didn't actually talk about specifically which one, so it'll be one of the AvP games.
Yeah, one of the what the fuck is wrong with me?
Nice work.
One of the Aliens versus Predator games, whichever one is easily accessible to both of us.
Yeah, we'll figure it out off air. You guys don't need to hear this conversation.
Yep, I think that'll be our next one. And then probably AvP, the movie after that. In the meantime, we should have plugged this up top, Kenny. We dropped an episode on Robert Rodriguez's The Faculty over on our bonus feed.
We sure did. Go check out that episode on The Faculty. It is, spoiler alert, a movie that we both absolutely loved.
Yeah, on the Crew Expandable feed. Search Crew Expandable in your podcast app. Or go to coolerbot.transistor.fm. Find all the links to subscribe there. If you're a YouTube subscriber, it's easy to find on there too. That is Crew Expandable, not a Xenomorph podcast. That is our bonus podcast feed, available to everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
We definitely spend 2.5 hours talking about how good The Faculty is. So go check that shit out.
We probably could have talked longer.
Well, we absolutely could have, yeah. We decided to stop because we were already at 2.5 hours, and we were like, we could probably wrap it up.
We're almost at 2 hours on these 2 short stories, so
we sure are.
Maybe we should wrap this one up as well.
You got it.
Kenny, where can people find you on the internet?
I am on Twitter and Blue Sky and the PSN and Letterbox at CYHOBBEZ. Neil, how about you?
I'll be on the couch.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Finishing up the Mortal Kombat 1 story mode.
That's right.
Where can people find the show if they're not already subscribed?
Our Twitter is at Crew Expendapod. Our Blue Sky is at Crew Expendable. Our Instagram and our Threads is both at Crew Expendable Pod. Our website is crewexpendable.net. Our email address is mother@crewexpendable.net. Our YouTube page is youtube.com/@crewexpendable. Our bonus show feed, as you mentioned earlier, is coolerbot.transistor.fm. And our donation page, which you are free to send money to if you want to. If not, that's also totally fine, is coolerbot.net.
Always optional. We love your support. All of our content will always be free for everybody, including our bonus episodes. That's just how it works.
That's how we're going to do it. Yes,
Yep.
that is correct.
Yep, because we love everybody. We love all of you. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for supporting the show. Thank you all for hanging in there with us.
For sure.
Yeah, you are all collectively our best friends.
That's right. It's not parasocial.
Nope. We know several of you by name.
That's right.
All right, let's wrap it up here. We will be back talking, I think, some kind of video game that is Aliens and Predator. So until then,
stay frosty.